what the system does, it doesn't want us to understand the true nature of the I. The world is controlled by basically a spider's web. The spider's web is a brilliant symbol of it. You've got the spider at the center of the web, which is deep in the shadows. You won't see them in the public arena. And then the strands in the web immediately around the spider are the most exclusive secret societies. That's where the people who really know what the game is operate.
What Illuminati would
Well,
say?
yeah,
No,
well, that's part of it. But when you close your eyes, you're in another reality. But when you open your eyes, you're back in this one. The thing is, though, that your eyes don't want to stay open. The human life is a download of perceptual programming. That's what it is. The education system is simply downloading to the young population a perception of reality. And they test you, if you've accepted that level of reality, nature of reality, by exams. And then the media is pounding out the same version of reality. Mainstream science and mainstream medicine is pounding out the same reality.
And as long as you keep paying your taxes and turning up
Yeah,
for work,
and it's based on what I call the postage stamp consensus. This is a narrow band of information, sense of the possible, what is known as the normal. In the world of the scene, everything seems random and unconnected. But if you go to the spider level, the Silicon Valley corporations of Facebook and Google and YouTube and all these people, Amazon, the banking system, the big pharma cartel, governments, big biotech, big oil, they're all controlled by the same force, and they're all working to the same end. And because of the fierce compartmentalization of knowledge, what the intelligence community call the need-to-know technique, people only letting people need to know what they need to know to make their contribution, but not see how it all fits together. Very, very few people can drive this web. And you see, if you look at how this cabal works, it works on intimidation, and intimidation's another word of saying, getting people to give a shit, right? It's about persuading the public to give their power away to them. They give their power away at different levels to politicians, do something. Instead of saying, what am I going to do about it? It's what they're going to do about it. And then they give their power away through consequences.
Right.
Like, what will this cabal do to me if I come out with this stuff? I mean, so many people have given me information, some of them well-known people, and they've said, look, I'll give you it, mate, but for God's sake, don't say you got it from me. It's this fear. Everything that we think, every thought, every emotional state is broadcast as a frequency. Everything's a frequency. Hate is a certain frequency. Love is a very different frequency. Depression is one frequency. And, when people are in states of depression and anxiety, what do they say? Oh, I feel so heavy today. Why? Because those frequencies are very low and slow, and their energetic field starts to vibrate very slowly, and it enters a much more dense state, and we feel it as, I'm feeling heavy today. And then one day we wake up, we're full of joy. And what do people say? Oh, I feel so light today. Because the positive emotions and thoughts of love, of joy, are very fast frequencies, and therefore you feel light. You literally do. So our perceptions, whether we believe ourselves to be little me or infinite me, they are vastly different frequencies, bands of frequency. So if you're in a perception of I'm little me, I have no power, then you are broadcasting, operating on a very narrow band and low frequency band of perception. And that is interacting with the cosmic Wi-Fi, the quantum field of possibility and probability within that band. And you will create a feedback loop in which you will experience your own perceptions. And I'd say this to people, please don't confuse what is happening with your perception of what could be happening. Because what you believe is possible is not the limit of possibility. It's only what you believe is possible. And what's possible is way beyond. So one of the great mind control techniques is use of words for confusion, where they invert words. So you'll have something like eyes wide open. Now that's an obvious thing. Your eyes are wide open. But eyes wide shut is an inversion. In other words, it's impossible for you to have your eyes wide shut.
And also what you said about the occult is that everything is inverted. The whole
Everything's inverted.
Everything about it is that.
Yeah, and the other thing about eyes wide shut is it's also a statement about much of the human race, which is people go around with their eyes wide shut. In fact, funny enough, you should say this. The opening introduction to the Trigger is called Eyes Wide Shut, and because the last two chapters at the end are called Eyes Wide Open 1 and 2, and I talk about the Kubrick film and the name of the film Eyes Wide Shut, and although you can't have your eyes wide shut, you can walk around with your eyes open and see nothing, which is just as much
which
as
is
having your
basically
eyes.
what he's saying, I guess.
Yeah, that's what he's basically saying, eyes wide shut. And what he's saying is, look at it, this is what's happening. But the end game, in terms of complete control of human perception, is to connect the human brain to artificial intelligence. And this is something I've been warning about now for so frickin' long. And the Silicon Valley crazies are now openly talking about it. There's a guy at Google, he's called a futurist, called Ray Kurzweil. And there are others like him as well. And they're actually giving the year 2030 for which we're in 2019 as we speak, for connecting the human brain to artificial intelligence. And that at that point, and I'm now quoting or paraphrasing Kurzweil, once that connection's made, he said AI will do more and more and more of human thinking until human thinking as we currently know it will be basically negligible.
Right.
In other words, the human mind will become AI, and instead of manipulating human perception will become direct through AI. And this is how they've done it. There's a...
Well, we're already kind of...
Oh,
on
we
that
are.
way.
Can I ask?
Using the phone for a start.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just want to give you a sequence, because this will be very relevant to the people watching this. I talked about problem, reaction, solution. There's another technique that is the bedfellow, the stablemate of problem, reaction, solution. I call it the totalitarian tiptoe. And what you do is you start at A, and you know you're going to Z. But if you go in too big a leap to Z, the change is such that people go, what's going on? What's going on? What's happening? So you go as big a leap as you can, but not so big that people see the pattern. So the totalitarian tiptoe to control by AI went like this. Stage 1, get them addicted to technology that they hold. Your goal is to get in the body. So first of all, stage 1, you get them addicted to technology they hold. So we had this explosion of the smartphone era. And
even before that, you could say, even calculators, that kind of thing, Tamagotchis.
Well, if you want technology that goes inside someone, I know a few devices.
Well, you bloody would.
Yeah,
but
believe me, they're not addicted in the same way.
No.
That is interesting, though.
So that's stage 1, and that's achieved.
Right.
Vast numbers of people are absolutely addicted to technology they hold. You go to stage 2, they're holdables. Next stage, wearables. You're going in the body, so next stage you get on the body. This is your Apple Watch, your Bluetooth, and all these things. Endless gadgets.
This is literally not an
He's
Apple
got
Watch.
an Apple Watch.
So
endless gadgets that you wear.
Yeah.
Ooh, and what they're doing is conditioning normality. They're making these things normal. And I'll tell you something about these office assistants in a minute about that too. And then these AI bloody Barbie dolls they're giving out for kids and stuff like that. So then you go to the next stage,
small soldiers,
which is inside the body, which is internal chipping, which I've been saying was the plan since about 1992.
Elon Musk is sort of big into that, isn't
don't talk to me about him.
Not a fan?
No. I really want to hear what you think about
Elon Musk
Here the
comes out and says that AI could be the end of the human race. On that he's right. And then he opens a frickin' company called Neuralink to connect the human brain to computers.
Yeah.
I mean, talk me through that. And
sort of Overton window sense of
the only way that they are going to connect everyone to AI, no matter where they are in the world, is by having every inch of the planet covered with Wi-Fi, the cloud. This is what Kurzweil says, that the human brain is going to be connected to the cloud. So the cloud has to be global. And they are putting thousands and thousands of satellites up in orbit. Musk, one of the major ones through his company SpaceX, to beam Wi-Fi at the planet so no one can escape from it.
Are you of the belief that this 5G thing is something to worry?
Massively. 5G is ramping up this whole, what they call smart grid. Do you notice how everything today is called smart? Mm-hmm. Everything called smart is part of a smart grid, and part of that smart grid is connecting AI to the human brain. So everything is connected by is controlled by AI, and whoever controls AI controls everything. And from one central point, when this grid is up and running and it's being put into place more and more every day all over the world, whoever controls that central point controls not only everything technologically, controls the human mind. And see how fast things move. I remember some books ago, not that long ago really, I was warning about the plan for something called the Internet of Things, where everything is connected to the Internet. Now, already billions of things are connected to the Internet. Everything's connected to AI and the Internet. The Internet, by the way, was made possible thanks to an organization called DARPA, which is the technological development arm of the Pentagon. And if I called DARPA evil, I would be fearful of evil suing me for defamation of character, to be honest. That's how bad it is, right? And so the idea is before you can make a physical connection to AI, and people accept this, you've got to make a psychological connection. And what they're doing, because it's all a psychological game, the few cannot control billions unless they control the psyche of the billions. But it goes in one ear and out the other. It doesn't affect me, because what I would say to young people that are affected by this, you're the one with the power. The power is not with the abuser, it's with the receiver in how they receive the abuse. Mm-hmm. And you can say you can fall apart because they're saying this stuff about me, and that's a reaction to it that's going to destroy you. Mm-hmm. Or you can say, I don't give a fuck.
It's weird.
I would say to these kids, just very quickly, you cannot overestimate. You cannot overestimate the power of not giving a shit.